When Jean, an 81-year-old grandma in Idaho, inherited a plot of land in Los Angeles, she thought her financial worries were over until squatters claimed the property.
The sheriff won't go there and cut the locks for you.
They would have already had claimed it.
No, they're not allowed to. The squatters have rights.
At least 20 people in a dozen RVs took control and barred her from her own land. Neighbors told us people inside were armed, and they weren't happy to see us.
You think if there were some murderers in here, they would enjoy you coming up to the crack and looking through the camera?
Who has more rights here, you, the property owner, or the people living there illegally?
Oh, I have rights. I get to pay my property taxes and pay for liability insurance.
Yeah, that's right.
3 years,
Oh, she's woke as hell.
she spent her savings, about $100,000, to cover legal fees, taxes, and lost rent. She finally found a buyer that will take the property with the squatters, but it's going to cost her
$800,000. I dropped the price.
$800,000?
Yes, sir.
So you lost almost $1 million on this.
Yes, I have.
She inherited it, and then she lost $800,000. But I don't know why they're not saying how much she sold it for. What if it's worth $6 million?
Squatters' rights go back to the British legal system. The idea to ensure abandoned or unused property can be put to good use by people who need it.
No comment.
But the good intentions of centuries-old law
A couple accused of squatting and killing a woman inside her mother's apartment.
have created some modern-day nightmares.
Yeah.
These squatters have turned this $4.5 million Beverly Hills mansion into a party hub.
This is the front line, if you will, in the battle to keep squatters out of an abandoned property. This property's been vacant for 4 years. It's an eyesore in the community here.
The owner died during COVID, and when no family claimed it,
You know, it's crazy. If you're not a squatter and you lived in this home, let's just say you actually own the property, they would not let you live there. They'd kick you out. They'd say, oh, this is unsafe living conditions. But if you don't own the property and you're living there, then they won't do jack shit.
squatters did.
See the broken windows there, the graffiti, and someone's been living in this.
It's been a horrible nightmare.
Terry Cortez lives next door and wants the city to tear it down.
I think the neighbors and I are very scared sometimes of what kind of people come up, and people sometimes come in.
Since law enforcement can't do much and court battles can take years, others are now stepping in with different approaches.
It's not right to not pay your utilities or your rent.
I was about to move too until he turned off the lights.
Lando Thomas and Kimmy
What a piece of shit. No, you weren't.
Kochick run a company called Squatter Squad.
What happened when the owner came to clean the place after the Airbnb ended?
The Airbnb guest refused to leave.
And that's it?
Yep, that's it. And Los Angeles says he can stay.
They break locks squatters install and
Squatter Squad, squatter removal and prevention service. We offer fast and effective squatter removal and prevention services. Hey, yo. That's a legit business. Hire us. Our squatter removal services start at $750. After confirming we can assist an initial payment of $750, we'll start your case within 1 to 3 days. We'll put strategies in place to fast track your resolution. Wow, this is a legit business. Huh. Some questionnaires. Interesting.
put up cameras to monitor them 24/7. But so far, nothing has chased this squatter away.
The police's hands are tied. The sheriff's hands are tied.
Squatting is a problem for landlords reaching
It's not tied. They're just busy, and they just don't have the willpower. They just don't have the will to do it.
far beyond Southern California. According to a survey from the National Rental Home Council, cities in Texas, Georgia, and Florida have more squatters than any other metropolitan area.
Knock, knock.
But there are solutions. When Flash Shelton found a squatter in his mother's home in Northern California 5 years ago,
Are you Flash?
Yeah.
I'm Marla. Hey. I'm really sorry.
he figured out a way to work around the system that often appears to protect the squatter, not the property owner. Shelton out-squats the squatter.
These people feel like the law allows them to do it, so why not me?
The squatter hunter, as he's known,
This is the woman leaving at 5:06 a.m.
targets squatters like this woman who moved into an apartment without permission while it was being fixed up. The property owner has provided Shelton with a legal lease to the apartment.
Based on the conversations and based on everything, I'll make a decision Rather, I'm going to literally move in with them.
Because he's now the real tenant, he can change the lock and turn the
I just came up with a good movie plot. You are in the squatter squad. You go in there, you start squatting with the squatter to get them to leave. You fight, you have your battles, but eventually you fall in love. And then you end up both squatting. Or you buy the property. I don't know, but either way, this is a good movie plot.
tables on the squatter.
They can't kick me out because I have a lease. So it's a game, it's a chess match.
Sometimes the squatter calls the cops. In this case, they quickly determined it's a matter for civil court, which still could take months to resolve with no guarantees.
Squatters are taking advantage of people. They just know that there's a system out there that allows them to live rent-free.
If someone takes possession of a property illegally, they're in violation of the law.
State Senator Bob Archuleta
Big deal if you don't do anything about
law
it.
in California, allowing property owners to file a no trespass notice with local police.
It's good for a year, and it's there, it's on record. This way it gives the authority for the officers to respond.
I love this guy's. He's so skeptical. He's like sussed out. He's like, I don't believe a word you're saying. It's good for a year. None of this matters unless enforcement comes through. Like the law pretty much, everybody's breaking laws every single day, no matter who you are. There's so many laws in the books. None of them matter unless they're being enforced. Thankfully, a lot of them aren't enforced because a lot of them are ridiculous. But this stuff has to be enforced. Otherwise, it's irrelevant.
Because it's already been registered that no one is allowed in that building.
Florida also has a new law allowing cops to evict squatters immediately when they don't have a valid lease, and several other states have passed or proposed tougher measures on squatting. But until there are new laws on the books,
they're just saying, we're not leaving.
Lando Thomas.
Understand that squatters affect the rental market. If they are squatting there and they're not paying rent, then that's a property that is not available to be rented. And so there's less inventory for people who are looking for places to rent. So it's not a victimless crime, and it's not just hurting the landlord. It's hurting potential people who would want to come in and rent that place. Once they get the squatters out, they can fix it up, then there's more properties to be rented out, and thus there is competition and lower prices, hopefully, in theory.
Kimberly Kotchik will confront squatters for a fee.
Knock, knock.
Starting at $2,500.
MJ, you in there, bro? How you doing?
This
Another
time,
business.
they're trying to get a 26-year-old named Samjay to lead this Airbnb rental, along with his pregnant girlfriend and their 5 dogs.
I love it. They're just shaking hands, like all cordial.
You were supposed to leave on the 10th.
This property owner needs his property back.
I would love to give it back to him, and as I've said, as soon as we can get a place.
It's now a race against time. If Samjay manages to stay here for 30 days, they'll have to go to court to evict him, where the law considers squatters legitimate tenants with certain rights of their own.
And he knows that. He 100% knows that. Nobody is squatting and not looking up the squatter laws and understanding them completely.
You gonna move out?
It's not possible for me to get all my stuff out now.
So where will you go when you leave here?
We got nowhere to go.
It sounds like you're saying you're on the verge of homelessness.
You could say that. Yeah, times are tough.
Honestly, as squatters go, I kind of like this one. He's one of the, they're all bad, but he's one of the good ones. He's just like, yeah, he's not even lying or pretending.
The squad finally talks Samjay into leaving with an offer to pay for a motel room and storage while he looks for a new place to live.
That's
and
pretty
as hard
legit.
as that may be to believe, for now, it's the quickest and cheapest way to get this squatter to leave a property he doesn't actually own. For Eye in America, I'm Carter Evans in Los Angeles.
Don't forget to like the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100K by the end of the year. Really appreciate it. Let's keep going.
This woman is trying to get into the house, but her access is being blocked, and it's her own home.
Okay, hey! You want to assault? You want to assault? Get out of my home!
Tracy Albert and her husband Miles used their savings to buy this 4-bedroom dream home in
Hold on a
Riverside,
minute.
California. 14 months their savings to
Look at her husband, Miles. Why is she kicking down the door? Look how much larger he is. This is nuts. Is that him?
Get out of my home!
Tracy Albert and her husband Miles used their savings to buy this 4-bedroom dream home in Riverside, California 14 months ago, but they have not been able to move in, even though they've been paying the mortgage every month.
He just said he wasn't leaving. That was it. Wasn't going to leave the house, barricaded himself in the house.
So who's the guy blocking their way, refusing them entrance to their own home? It's the previous owner.
Do you think that this was his plan from the beginning?
Yes.
Realtor Chris Taylor says he's never seen anything like this in 18 years selling homes.
Every I was dotted, T was crossed, everything that could have been done was done. And there's nothing that could have been done to actually prevent this.
The previous owner of this home is now relying on the coronavirus eviction moratorium, which prevents anyone from getting kicked out of their home during the pandemic.
It's not his
the
home.
couple says that they closed on this house in January 2020 before any government mandate was put into effect.
I definitely think it's a case of fraud, that he knew he wasn't going to move out, staged boxes to look like he was going to move out.
So was this a foreclosure then? It doesn't seem like it was for sale by owner if he's just sitting around.
And then stayed behind.
The Alberts say the courts keep pushing their case back.
I can't walk onto the lot. I was told that would be trespassing. I've been there. The sheriffs have told me to leave.
The alleged squatter, Hassam Bakhtar, and his family have apparently stopped taking care of the property. So all of this was beautiful when you bought it?
Beautiful and green. The trees, beautiful palm trees that are all yellow. There's all weeds.
Our cameras were there when the homeowner tried one more time to get inside.
Hello?
So
you think he's home?
Yeah, he doesn't leave.
I also tried to talk to the family. Mr. Bakhtar, Jim Murray from Inside Edition, but no one came to the door. What would you say to him if he came to the door now?
Get out of my house.
As long as somebody is paying the property taxes on this place, the government doesn't give a shit who's living there. That's all they care about.
Go ahead. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
There's some E.T. looking fingers.
Police! Police! You won't get away!
I'm leaving.
Here's how I got a squatter out of one of my properties. A squatter by definition is a person who unlawfully occupies your unit. In other words, somebody who's not on the lease decides to take possession of your property and wouldn't leave. I bought a property in Toronto with the purpose
Yeah, so it's unlawful, but they have all these rights. So how does that make any sense?
of building, and sometimes permits can take up to a year or more. So in order to cover my cash flow and the property was old, I decided to rent it to university students. As I rented it to university students, one of the students invited a guest to come and stay over. This guy was completely out of control. After a few weeks of living in there and refusing to leave, he started threatening all the other students that were living in the property, and one by one, he violently kicked all the students out. When I confronted him, he was extremely aggressive. He threatened me with weapons. He had axes, swords, knives in his property. I thought this is a clear-cut case of trespassing, so I contacted the police. To my surprise, the police told me that this guy is a squatter. Even squatters have rights in this country, and they also have to go through the eviction process of landlord and tenant board.
Yes, but again, if we own stuff, which we don't, why the hell do we have to do that? Why do squatter rights trump ownership rights? Do you really own it if the state is saying, hey, you own this house, but this person is now living there and they get to do whatever they want because we're giving them some rights? It makes no sense. And there's nobody, like 99.99% of people are going to say that doesn't make any sense. How is it possible that we live in a society where 99.99% of people can say something doesn't make sense, and yet it continues to be the way that it is? It's completely insane.
When I called the landlord and tenant board, they said this is a police matter, and after explaining to them that I already spoke to the police, they decided to tell me that yes, this has to go through an eviction process. As we all know, Ontario's landlord and tenant board can take up to 8 to 10 months to kick a person out or evict a person, even a squatter,
Yeah, and that can completely bankrupt a landlord. Most landlords are just, they have a single property that they're renting out. It was like their first home, they went and got another one, and this is like their investment property. They don't own stocks or anything else. This can bankrupt somebody to go this many months.
a person you have never signed a contract with. So I decided to take matters into my own hand instead of sitting there for 8 to 10 months as he was damaging my property. This guy has ruined my walls, he had broken my kitchen, there was damages all over the property. The first step is I cut off all the utilities. I cut off the hydro, Enbridge, and water. But before turning off the utility services...
Yeah, and in a lot of places that would be illegal to do.
From occupants who don't hold legal rights, an eviction must be initiated as certain court orders are expected for such action. So according to our lawyers, we called the police, we gave notice, and we filed with the tribunal and courts, then proceeded to cut his utilities. 2-3 days went by, hoping that he would leave. He was still in the property, and he got a lot more aggressive and a lot more angrier. He started threatening the neighbors, he started damaging the property more, but he still wouldn't leave.
So we started monitoring the house on a daily basis, and one day when we came in to check out the property, it seemed abandoned, and therefore we hired a crew right away to board up the house and disposed all of his belongings, following all local ordinances regarding getting rid of someone's left behind property.
And that made him even more angrier. He tried to get in, he threatened more neighbors, and police was called again, and again they didn't do anything. This man started camping in my backyard.
Oh my
He wouldn't leave, he was doing bonfires. After the 6th or 7th day, I decided to bring some landscapers that can do some garden work in the back. Finally, he left the property. It's extremely sad for somebody who has no protection from the system whatsoever. You have to take matters into your own hand. We proceeded to give him a letter saying that if you want to take legal action against us, it's better that he takes us to court rather than us going to the landlord and tenant board and having no protection. Hope you enjoyed this video, because I didn't enjoy the process at all.
I'm surprised that there aren't more murders, to be honest. There's certain people where if you did this type of stuff to, they would make you disappear. Anywho, that's it for tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Peace.